Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail, back with some more scrolls. I promised that I'd be watching a game here, and just wanted to show you a little bit of a feature that I do like that's changed in the spectating realm, which is that they actually give you a countdown for when game starts. Because for those of you who do not know, Scrolls does have a spectator mode. It is actually a pretty nice mode. It does have chat for people who are watching. But it is also one that is on a 5-minute delay, so you can't just tell other people what they have in their hands. Scrolls is kind of a slower moving game, but it's not that slow. But today we're going to be watching a game between siRisacc. I hate that that's probably not how it's pronounced. Someone who I do remember from a while ago, back when I was playing this game more consistently. And Crowfriend, who I do not know, but look forward to seeing. This is going to be an energy versus growth matchup, which at least once upon a time favored energy. But like I said, this is a game with a lot of cards, a lot of new cards that I haven't seen in a while. So this is going to be less of me going, oh, and telling you exactly everything I know about the game, and more just trying to take a look, watch the game as it goes, show you some of the new features of the spectator mode, because I really like some of the things that Mojang has added to it. And also just taking an opportunity to kind of get to know some decks, some cards that I don't necessarily know. So by all means, if you catch something that I don't catch while we're watching the game here together on the YouTubes, by all means, please tell me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the watch button here. And here we go, siRisacc versus Crowfriend, as we have some nice new avatars one way or another. So we do have already one sacrifice here just for some different things. And siRisacc going for scrolls as he has Machinated, Blood Reaver, some other things. And here is Crowfriend with a kind of standard growth deck. Looks very wolfy, but there is the Jarl, there is the Brother of the Wolf, and Jarl Orhard, which is a unique that hopefully we'll be able to get into in a little bit. So Boom Reaver, kind of a new card here, range attack, 3/3, and otherwise just kind of a standard energy creature deck from the look of it so far, versus a kind of standard energy / enchant growth deck for Crowfriend. So we'll take a look here. Cannon Edit, something I really like. Oculus Cannon, something new with ranged attack and piercing, and does not count down when an opponent puts a unit on a tile. Stuff happens. We'll get back to that in a minute. But Cannon Edit, a very strong turn 3 play if you can have it. Will bust through some of the weaker squishy units that growth can put out, but unfortunately for siRisacc, Crowfriend has a pretty beefy hand right now if you can just get it out. Ragged Wolf there to at least put some damage and stop something from happening with the Cannon Edit. But Oculus Rift, if a unit moves on a tile the same row, so its countdown is set to 0. So that's pretty interesting. I look forward to seeing how that works out. So siRisacc with 2 Cannon Edits. This is a very strong start for him. Fertile Soil for Crowfriend on turn 4, though, is just going to try and work the card advantage, but I don't know if that really works too great with the board that Risacc has right now. And I really hate that I'm mispronouncing his name, but a very, very heady Potion of Resistance on the Cannon Edit in the front, avoiding a Kinfolk Veteran play. Vengeful Vetter is a new card that I really do like as well. Pillage is if you attack the idol here, and you can get 1 pure resource, and we'll put that up here, is dealt one, or when it's dealt 1 pure damage. There's a lot of stuff about damage types. I'll make a separate video for it because it needs some breakout here, but it does do pure damage. So another new card, Higher Marksman, range attack. When its countdown is 0, you may set its countdown and deal 3 damage to target creature, which is fantastic direct attack, but it does have a 3 cooldown. So energy always about its slow stuff here. So Crowfriend gonna have to get a little bit more board presence, and unfortunately Rat King is still kind of weak against energy, but it is a lot of chump blockers here. But he's just choosing to go down on the bottom aisle. So Risacc already kind of in control of this matchup, as there's a Spark on the Vengeful Vetter. Definitely the best target at this point. But these 2 Canonettas can do a lot of work on these Beast Rats because of the piercing damage here. Because that'll be, well, that one will still live with 1 life, but we'll see. Sacrificing for more cards, 4 resources seems to be enough. Hired Smuggler, another, not exactly a new card, but draw 1 structure scroll if it pillages, if it does damage to an idol. So really not a lot of other great plays here for Crowfriend. We do have the Rekindled Spirit. Like I said, I make no guarantees about how good these games will go. But right now, he's just kind of got to weather the early game, which sucks a little bit for him because the early game is where growth is supposed to shine. But this Potion of Resistance should be off by the time these guys attack. But even if they don't, that still will be 3 damage if they manage to live. I hate saying this. They're not going to live. Ranged and Lobber attacks will have their countdown put by 2 here. And guess what? These are all ranged units. So that's not going to end very well if Risacc chooses to bombard. But, I mean, he has some other options here. Storm Runner is a very fun card against growth. It really can ruin growth's day, especially since Kinfolk Veteran is 3 health instead of 4 now. So No Bombard this time, but he does throw Machinated on here, which is going to wreck this whole line right here. Now, Machinated does actually increase the countdown by 1, but you save it for things like this, where the piercing will go through here. And this poor Beast Rat, it's like, I am strong. I am a strong, committed Beast Rat. I do not need no health or other friends. There's some meme there that I'm missing. But still, overall, siRisacc having a very powerful hand with Bombard. Actually playing Energy Charge, too, which is an interesting choice. Not a card that you see all the time, because you can't always control where these things go, but does about as good of a chance as these does here. Actually, Proximity Charge, excuse me, when it's destroyed in melee combat. Now, what I'm wondering is, do these cloak things actually mean that you can't see it on the other end? Possibly. But, I mean, we can see it here regardless. So, like I said, this is kind of more of a video, not so much about me going, woo, I am the best, because I'm not the best at all. I've never been the best, really. But just trying to get to know some of the, like, new things that are out there a little bit more. But right now, he is managing to move his cards away from the proximity charges. So that's a plus. He does have a Bombard, so he can actually do some substantial damage. Although not entirely take out. I don't remember if Bombard rounds up or rounds down. Or Piercing rounds up or rounds down. I think Piercing rounds down. If it rounds up, he can take out the Great Wolf with a Bombard. Desperation could be another thing. I mean, one more damage is going to do a lot for the Canonetta. But if he puts all of his units here, the Jarl is just going to wreck him. So that's not great. Might be a better idea to move this Canonetta just out of the way instead of trying to Bombard and take everything else out. So, Oculus Cannon right here. Does he move something else into the row and decrease the cooldown? I guess it's got to be adjacent, but there's a Bombard anyway, so F that cooldown. Yeah. So 4 damage, and then that's going to be 7 and 2, or 3 or 4. And then that Jarl is not going to go down, but it's going to be really damn close. So 5 damage, because a Jarl is only as strong as everything else around it. Hey, people who used to watch my videos, did you notice I'm calling it a Jarl instead of a Jarl now? Maybe. So that's interesting. Okay, when an opponent, that's the activation there. So opponent moves the unit, it gets to attack, and he just took out that entire line. So while siRisacc got some early damage here, at least Crowfriend was able to put his Jarl to good use, which is better than I can say. So Stagheart saving the day right there with a Crimson Bull as well, just to get the extra damage out. But he does have some answers, but like I said, this is the problem with energy. You can do a lot of devastating stuff early. The mid-game, and like I said, I'm speaking with such little authority because I don't know the new cards that are out. The mid-game can really stink if you're... oh, it's the worst Quake draw ever right now. You really don't want to Quake here. You really don't want to God Hand into those proximity charges either, although it'll just eat the Ragged Wolf. I mean, it's a possibility, but that exposes the Smuggler here. So Crowfriend trying to play it a little bit safer, can potentially draw another enchantment here. Most growth decks that I've seen only run one enchantment, which would be Stagheart. I've seen a few that run Oakblood, and there's a Quake. Wow. Okay, going for just the... you know, I would have rather Quaked and then dropped the Earthborn Mystic than drop the Earthborn Mystic than Quake. Well, you know, probably not entirely thinking through his turn, and now that Earthborn Mystic is just a sunk card. So siRisacc definitely in substantial control here. Here's the Boom Revert. I mean, I know I've been playing Growth a long time, but I do think that Energy does have the best unit art, to be honest here. And let's just be honest. So, not a fan of that Quake, but now we're at an impasse, and this is what's great about scrolls, is where, oh look, I sold a scroll in the black market while watching. It's so easy, even a caveman can do it. But yeah, this is where Energy... I know some people used to just say Energy was late game. Some people used to say Energy was mid game. It really depends on the deck right now. But at this rate, I mean, Rekindled Spirit, sacrifice target creature you control, destroy all lingering spells. That's not going to do a ton of good. It really would just be for a card draw at this point. And he'd rather just actually take out the creatures because he doesn't know that siRisacc has... He's seen one Bombard. He doesn't know he can necessarily play more. I wouldn't burn that. In fact, he gets rid of the burn, which could be good for card draw, but another thing that I've seen is pretty interesting is that Gravelock Elders are making a pretty big comeback in Scrolls right now because there are a ton of Gravelocks in the game now. There's your Rekindled Spirit for 2 creature cards. There's no Lingering Spells, which are spells that last multiple turns that'll appear up here. Doesn't look like we'll be getting any in this matchup from the decks that I've seen so far. But, I mean, Rekindled Spirit is still 4 for 2 guaranteed creatures, so they're not going to be dead draws. Like I said, I'm still just a little salty about Crow's Quake, because he could have used that extra creature, possibly another enchant draw. But here we go. Definitely some options for Rizek, who is still in control of this matchup, although you want your Gravelock Elders to live a little longer than they are here. Is this a Reaver turn? Maybe. Yes, it is. Alright, so can you do anything else to take out this guy right now? No, but at least the Reaver will stay in front and soak up some damage. And that if he can pillage with that and make it immune to damage, that's going to be fantastic. But once again, is this where this is a terrible, terrible Quake? If he does Quake. So he does sacrifice 4 more scrolls, and what do you do here at this point? You do have a Rat King you can rally, and he's gonna rally into Sadness, I think. I don't know. This is a little painful. Once again, not really thinking through your turns here beforehand. You play your brother a wolf and then you rally, and maybe you do 3 damage or maybe you summon a wolf. What you don't do is play your instant card that affects all creatures on the board, and then this. And that's kind of the difference between Rizek, who's an experienced player, who's been playing for a long time, and Crowfriend, who is 1500 rated, so he has won some ranked matches, but still not quite with the experiences there. I don't know the player at all, so maybe he's not as familiar with growth, or it's just something that takes a little bit of time and practice. And that's where the Scrolls kind of player base hurts a little bit for new players, because it does take a good while to sit and wait for a match to come up. So that's where you hope that Mojang / Microsoft are able to pull in some new players in the end here. Meanwhile, guns a-blazing, another creature down. There's the 7 Quake. And when your Quake's only killing a few units and not doing much more, this is almost where you want Frostgale or something as well. Vengeful Vader, maybe a little too late, but you know what? Not late enough to... He actually played the Quake before dropping the 2 health units, so that is an improvement. But let's see here. Potion of Resistance just in time for Rizek here. Now he can bombard and kill the Vader. He can bombard and Potion of Resistance and make this Brother of the Wolf mostly useless if he moves these units down. Dust Runner, will that actually kill him here? Yeah, it's 3 or less health, so if he had moved this unit up here, or he could still play a Dust Runner and bombard, or he could play an Oculus Cannon and bombard. It's all spiking the football at this point. Like I said, I'm just focusing on that. I know what that card does! This one's a new card. It's shiny. It's a gun with a really interesting contraption, but yeah, Rizek is just dominating the game, and I feel like I'm a rock and roll racing announcer, and a lot of you won't get that because you haven't played the game. 9 growth Quake, now up to 11 growths for Quake. We're at round 18. He's only been through some of his deck, but he's already gotten all 3 Quakes, which used to, I know, make energy players bristle, but I mean, at this point, it's just like, okay, that's fine. If you want to use your whole turn for quaking, Rizek's deck is really creature heavy, and in fact, that's the game right there. So, not much to it. Just pretty much cleaning up by round 18, and way to go. So, just a quick 10-minute match. Not too much to it, but still, we do have golds for people. We do have Rizek taking more time on his turns, but ending up doing a lot more with his work. Crowfriend doing a lot of unit damage with his Quakes, but I mean, those, you have some desperation Quakes, and sometimes you just don't get the hands to take care of things. But that's it for now. This is Way to Fail. Just a quick spectator mode game. Like I said, spectator mode still good, still a thing in Scrolls, and there are some improvements. You didn't get to see as many in this matchup just because the decks that were played. But as we do some more of these over time, hopefully you'll be able to get a better idea or understanding. But hope you enjoyed it. That's it for now. See you next time.